Hey there, everybody. We're back. It's the Daily Journal Football Preview Show, the first of 2020. As you can see, we're coming from Daily Journal World Headquarters in front of my extremely messy desk, which I think just adds to the aesthetic, as John Luke put it. John Luke's behind the camera. I'm Brad Locke. This is Dillon Barnes, the new guy of sorts. Dalton has moved on to greener pastures, covering Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Dillon has come down from our Ripley paper and is going to be the guy now in charge of prep coverage for the Journal. So if you haven't seen this show before, welcome in. And what we do here is we look at a few of the big games coming up this weekend. And this is week one, finally. Of course, COVID kind of messed things up and delayed everything by 2 weeks. And some teams are not playing this weekend because of COVID, some of their players testing positive, so that stinks. But it's kind of the world we're living in right now. But most everybody will be in action, and also joining the show again, as they did last year, is Pizza Doctor, sponsoring the show. Delicious pizza over there in what's called the Old Mall. What's it called, John Luke? Midtown Point.
Midtown Point, yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Barbecue, I like it.
I was gonna say, I don't think we had that flavor last year.
No, we didn't have this flavor. You know, last year we did we did these shows at different schools, talking to coaches, but COVID has kind of prevented us from doing that. We thought it would be wise just to do this from the office. So, Dillon, man, it's good. Okay, let's get to it. We're gonna do 3 games to watch, guys. Okay, 3 big games this week. First one, boy, this is a good one. Always a good one. West Point at Starkville. Big time rivals. And based on the research I've done, I don't believe they have ever met in a season opener. And the only reason they are this year is, again, because of COVID cutting out the first 2 weeks of the season. So you got the 4-time reigning 5A champs, West Point, against Starkville, a perennial power in 6A. And so we're going to do 3 keys to the game. Then we'll make a score prediction. Okay, so key number 1, how well will West Point's new offensive starters click? Because they lost a lot of production. Pretty much all their offensive production graduated. So a lot of new faces, unfamiliar names, but I think they'll be strong up front, Dillon. So you kind of expect West Point to reload, don't you?
I think their 4 state titles in a row kind of proves that, right? I mean, they reload every year. Every year when the 5A predictions come out from us or from anybody else in the state, West Point's always right there at the top because of what Chris Chambliss does there. So
yeah, they're our #1 ranked large school in the preseason for that reason.
Yeah. For sure.
Key number 2, can Starkville's offensive line protect Luke Altmeier? Of course, Luke is one of the best quarterbacks in the state. He's a senior. He's a commit to Florida State. And that offensive line, though, has 5 new starters for Starkville. Now, Starkville under Chris Jones has done pretty well at reloading as well. But you don't want Altmeier having to run around all night. He's not considered a mobile quarterback per se.
Yeah.
So
well, and when you point out 5 new starters, and their first task is getting to deal with Jaquarius Thomas.
Yeah.
And he is a monster. So
yeah, exactly.
He can make life miserable for Luke Altmeier and Starkville, you know, depending on how well those 5 mesh early on. So
yeah,
that's definitely a matchup you kind of have to watch there.
Definitely. And then key number 3, and the third key is always my favorite, and in my opinion, the most important. Which coach could have made a living as an Old West gambler? Chris Chambliss at West Point or Chris Jones? I think we can all see Chris Chambliss sitting at a poker table out in Tombstone, raking it in. I mean, that guy probably has the best poker face I've ever seen. He does not. You can't tell what he's feeling. So I think he would do mighty well in that. Nothing against you, Chris Jones. I'm just saying. Okay, second game to watch. Tupelo at Neshoba Central, way down there around Philadelphia. They got a long way to travel. Ty Harden making his debut as Tupelo head coach. Of course, he was very successful in his time at Houston. So the 3 keys to the game. Key number 1, can Tupelo slow down SEC prospect Jarquez Hunter? Really good running back, ran for 2,088 yards last year, Dillon. I haven't seen him play, but obviously SEC schools like him.
Yeah, he puts a lot of videos up on his Twitter account and stuff too, and he's like just squatting massive amounts of weight for his size, and he's just like extremely strong, extremely fast. I actually believe he's the He's like a first or second cousin of C.J. Johnson, a former
yeah.
5-star linebacker that played at Ole Miss, and he's from Philadelphia. So they believe he's like a first cousin or second cousin to him. So it's in his bloodlines to be really athletic. And but last year Tupelo held Neshoba Central to 122 yards rushing,
right?
And and won that game like 24-6. So they've shown last year, when he started getting attention, that they can slow him down and do something. And I think Tupelo's pretty strong up on their front seven again this year. So I think that they got a good chance of. They know what they're about to see Friday night. So.
Right, exactly. Key number 2: just how much better is Jake Ware than last year? The Tupelo quarterback was a first-year starter as a junior, had a really good season. Now he did have some really good receivers as well, a couple of D1 signees. So, losing those guys, I think will give you a really good picture of how much Jake has developed. And all the coaches from Tupelo think he's like leaps and bounds ahead of where he was last year. So I think this first game will tell us a lot as far as how Jake has progressed as a quarterback. And he's a good looking specimen, and really knows really smart, knows the game, knows the offense. I mean, it's a new offense from Ty Hard, but he said I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He's like, "Oh man, we're good. We got it." So there you go. Key number 3: does any coach have a better nickname than Cornbread? Ty Harden, of course, is nicknamed Cornbread. The answer to that question is no. He played at Houston. He had the name way back then. He had the nickname. They just called him Cornbread. He likes to tell me, now that he's been hired at Tupelo, he likes to tell me, "Yeah, I'm just Cousin Eddie coming up to the big city."
Yeah.
So, okay, you know what we forgot to do? That's the first show mistake. Didn't make a prediction on West Point. Tell you what, we'll go back and do predictions after we talk about we'll do them all together. Okay, third game to watch: New Albany at Pontotoc, and the Bulldogs won last year in a shootout, 44-42, and they should have an explosive offense again. What with C.J. Hill and Isaiah Corin, and now they got A.I. Nugent has transferred in. So, key number 1: can Pontotoc's defense handle all of New Albany's weapons? I mean,
that's a good question, because that's really what's going to determine the win or loss there. You got to limit what New Albany has, and New Albany's breaking in a new quarterback, whatever. But they can turn around and hand the ball off all night long and still be very dangerous. So they got two guys that are about 5'9", 5'10", and 220. They can just bruise you all night long. So it's going to be a tough task for Pontotoc's defense. Key number 2: can New Albany's new quarterback run the show? I don't know who they're going to start on Friday. Yeah. They got two guys with not a ton of experience. So, you got great playmakers around you, but you got to get them the ball. Right.
So that's going to be a huge thing there for the New Albany offense. And key number 3: which team has a stronger immunity against adversity? There you go, coaches. There's a new inspirational saying for you, inspired by COVID. Guys, you got to build up an immunity against adversity. Fight through it.
Is there T-cells in football? Or no? Okay.
Which of these teams have more antibodies to losing?
Okay, so now let's go back and make predictions on all these games. We'll start with West Point, Starkville. I'll go first. I just find it's a bad idea to pick against West Point ever. I mean, they could be playing the Patriots, and I'd be like, I might go with West Point. So I'm going to go with West Point in a close one here. I'll say 28-27, West Point.
I actually am going to agree with you, but simply because I'm the new guy here, and West Point, like you said, is our #1 ranked large school. So I'm going to go with status quo and go West Point. But I actually think the offenses are going to click a little better for both teams. But I think we'll go 35-28 West Point.
Okay. Then we've got Tupelo at Neshoba Central, and going down there, the first time Tupelo's ever played at Neshoba. Last year was the first meeting ever between the schools. Neshoba, obviously, again, we talked about the running back. Don't know how strong they are on defense. Yeah, I got to go with Tupelo in this one. 6A school going down there. I'll pick them to win. I'll say 31-23.
I'm kind of a big believer in Tupelo's defense. I think that they're with Dalton Hughes and some of those linebackers and things that they have. I actually believe it's going to be a similar score to last year, so I'm going to go 28-10 Tupelo.
Okay. And finally, we got New Albany at Pontotoc. All those weapons, man, for New Albany. I just think they're going to overwhelm Pontotoc. I'll say 45-17 Bulldogs.
I want to be contrary to you, but it's hard. I'll say New Albany as well, like 38-10 or so, something around that range.
And now we come to what used to be known as the Broughton Award. You know, Brad and Dalton, but Dalton's not here, and our names don't mesh. We can't, so we're trying to figure out a good name. I mean, I think that just today we're going to call it the Pizza Doctor Double Team Award. I don't know. If y'all have a better idea, hit us up on Twitter at DJournalPreps. Let us know. But it's the best 1-2 punch from the previous week. Now, we didn't have games last week per se, but we had scrimmages. And so Amory scrimmaged at Moorville for 2 quarters, and Hunter Jones and Jay Hampton both tore it up in that 17-7 win for the Panthers. Jones, the quarterback, 10 of 12, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hampton, the receiver, 4 catches, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So congrats to those guys. That's it, guys. We're done. Hey, cool. Don't forget to check out our podcast, by the way. New episode drops today of Prep Rally. You can find it in iTunes, your podcast apps, or at preprally.djournal.com. Again, we're on Twitter at DJournalPreps. We'll be at several games this weekend, starting with Potts Camp at Faulkner on Thursday, first game of the year around here. And once again, thank you to Pizza Doctor for sponsoring this show. Go check them out here in Tupelo over at Midtown Point, the old mall place. See you next week.